Great. Well, thank you so much, Luke. That was a lot of information to cover, and you really touched on some very important issues. So at this time, I'd like to introduce today's reactors and invite them to turn on their webcams. We have a very short discussion period, so I'll just do a very brief introduction right now. We have Paul Baker, Senior Director of Research and Strategic Innovation at Georgia Tech's Center for Advanced Communications Policy. We have Marta Garcia, Bilingual Information Media Specialist with the National Rehabilitation Information Center, or NARIC. And we have Hilda Smith, an Independent Knowledge Mobilization Specialist. So let's see, we do have a couple of questions that came in. One is, this is actually for Luke. Can you speak to the ethical and privacy issues of actually conducting research via social media? For example, engaging with participants using a private Facebook group. And if you could just...
Joanne, because I've talked so much, could I ask Paul or Marta or Hilda if they want an opportunity to answer this, or just to reflect on that question?
Okay, that's a good point. We'll go ahead and do that then. Hilda, your expertise in social justice is critical to using social media ethically with disadvantaged populations. So what are your thoughts about this question of engaging with participants via a private Facebook group?
I think that there's a lot of trickiness with it. Private Facebook groups, often when you're dealing with a marginalized group or a group that has particularly some fear of their whatever being disclosed, it can be really tricky to enter those spaces on the basis of you're not just a member of that community joining for the purposes of that community. In my experience, it's actually better to just go and talk to the moderators, the owners of that page, and have them direct the information into it instead of an outside researcher joining and promoting. That way there you have kind of you've been okayed by the people who run the group itself. And there's a bit of a buffer so that people who wouldn't want to engage are, their privacy is still kept privacy, even from the researcher. And then people who do want to engage can have an entry point to connect with the researchers.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Marta, one of your specialties is being able to translate research and evidence-based materials into Spanish social media bites at NARIC. What is your process for maintaining scientific integrity, which Luke had mentioned, when translating materials to share in Spanish?
Part of that process is making sure that I have the verbiage in both languages so that it matches. I don't want to be writing something that a NIDLR grantee, the research into Spanish and have it be not research, not specific, the language not be specific to the research, if that makes sense. Sure. So that's one way that I try to maintain the integrity. But also, I try to, one of the things with Spanish is, I'm gonna switch it for a second and say, with Spanish, there's the formal and the informal. Mm-hmm. So to keep the intent, to also help keep the integrity, I'll keep my social media bites more formal. And then make them more informal if it's more of, once the knowledge translation has occurred, then I can switch to the more informal. But I also try to keep abreast of what the research is, so that when I do translate it into Spanish, I don't go translate the wrong thing or say the wrong thing.
Got it.
So that's pretty much how I try to maintain the research and the integrity of the research.
Thank you. Paul, you've managed many NIDLR grants over the years, focusing on advanced technology and accessibility for people with disabilities. Given that social media is voluntary, while there are issues of privacy, what metrics would you use to assess the utility of social media versus alternative methods for recruitment. And can you speak to what those methods might be?
Sure, thanks. I think one of the incredible power of these platforms is a reach, the reach that it gives you well beyond traditional recruitment. For instance, I was just making notes to myself that I think of social media as having three kinds of purposes. So your evaluatory metrics depend on what your purpose is, right? It's recruitment, and as among the most powerful is it allows you to not just, if you amplify snowball or reputational, it really can amplify it, which, you know, from a social or ethical standpoint means you've increased the possibility your sample is larger and you get a more representative sample of perhaps marginalized or underrepresented. Very powerful technique. Data collection, also very powerful for data collection for similar things as Dr. Helenas mentioned. It allows you to recruit more broadly than you other would. In that sense, also provides better gist for the mill, if you will, in terms of the input that you have. And what really wasn't covered was kind of the back end, and I think of the reinforcement component, which is the dissemination, right? Because social media is not collection. It also has amplifying power in terms of dissemination on what you're doing. Dissemination then, in an iterative standpoint, can feed back in, right? Once, you know, one of the things that we've noticed, one of my colleagues, in fact, Salima LaForce may be on the call, has been incredibly effective at the use of Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, not only amplifying the message, but cross-platform amplification. And as a result, we've been able to get data in that, or participants beyond what we would normally do. But to directly answer the question, I tend to assess the utility of what I'm doing. There are a number of metrics built into Twitter, Google Analytics, Facebook's. There are tools that they're maybe not as easy to use as paper and pencil, but they're fairly accessible. One of the things to do, for instance, is you may tweet out a recruitment, and you may wonder why you don't hear anything. The metrics can tell you 10 people have looked at it. Well, that's why you're not hearing anything, because it vanished. It also can you can set up a schedule, for instance, in terms of recruiting over time. You can see the people who've either looked at it or engaged with it. It also tells you what times of day are more effective. And this gets to the entire strategy that you're using for recruitment. And I've gone on way too far. The short is, there are metrics out there that are really powerful to help you tune and make more effective these tools.